The U.S. makes endless war. Venezuela feeds the poor. U.S. makes endless war. Venezuela feeds the poor. We're here today and gathered all over the world. This is a global day. 150 different actions in cities around the world. The people of the world saying no to another U.S. war, imperialist war, war of mass destruction. The people of the world are a power with a voice that will come forward in ever louder waves as millions and millions gather in Venezuela to stop a U.S. provocation. Today, we have a short program here on Wall Street, center of U.S. finance capital, and our first speaker, our co-chair, Lourdes Vela. And I'm Sarah Flounders with International Action Center and with No War on Venezuela.
Brothers and sisters, thank you for being here. Good afternoon. We all know that what brings us here is injustice. It didn't happen today, yesterday with Venezuela. It happened hundreds of thousands of years ago with my ancestors, the Native Americans. So we're here for not only Venezuela, but also to bring together all the different injustices all over the world, from Latin America to Puerto Rico to Palestine, Syria, and Libya. Every media outlet points to the same picture: Juan Guaido as the self-elected president of Venezuela. They've weaponized aid to hold Maduro hostage. I want to let you know what no other media outlet is talking about, and that's the sanctions imposed on Venezuela, and that is the reason why it is impoverished. Citibank closed bank accounts in Venezuela and blocked the transfer of $300,000 for a shipment of insulin. Euroclear retained $1.6 billion of money that was going for medicine. The Bank of England seized over $1 billion in gold. Citgo accounts have been frozen and not allowed out of the United States unless Guaido is in power. It amounts to about $9.10 billion. Wells Fargo has withheld and canceled $7,500,000 of electricity that Venezuela sold to Brazil. Since May 2018, $7 million for dialysis for children and adolescents has been blocked. So don't tell us this is about humanitarian aid, because you, the United States and its imperial powers, have blocked monies that go to the aid to help children and families, medical, economic, every type of money that in Venezuela has been very successful in moving throughout the world through its petroleum and natural resources has been blocked. So we are here today to break that media block. Thank you very, very much for being here.
Speaker is Ike Mann, who is with the New York, New Jersey, Cuba C Coalition. Let's give it up for Mike.
Hi. Thank you, Sarah. Let me start by thanking the initiators and organizers of this excellent action. IAC, UNAC, No War on Venezuela. These February 23rd national and international actions have become a magnet for all anti-imperialist and solidarity activists and many, many others. We are all overflowing with anger at this arrogant campaign once again, of Yankee imperialism, which is culminating this weekend at the Colombian and Brazilian borders with Venezuela and along its Caribbean coastlines. All week, we have watched this dirty Yankee scheme unfold in an attempt to create the political and logistical conditions to steamroller a right-wing military coup, which could only be extremely bloody and repressive. This would be accompanied by a direct U.S. military intervention, as solicited openly by the puppet Guaido. I guess they expected the Maduro PSUV government to just surrender. I guess they expected that the Venezuelan officer corps would just crack and betray national sovereignty. I guess they just expected that the Venezuelan working class, despite a crushing capitalist economic crisis and escalating U.S. sanctions, would not mobilize and fight to defend their social conquest, their political space, and the sovereignty of Bolivarian Venezuela. We know that revolutionary Cuba is in Trump's and his gang of war criminals crosshairs. They have been for a long time, the Boltons and the Abrams. We know that they all salivate at the prospect of exterminating the living example of the Cuban Revolution, the original sin of their problems in their minds. But that will never happen. All of you know revolutionary Cuba will not be intimidated. Cuban society is mobilizing this Sunday, tomorrow, to vote on a new updated constitution. At the same time, all of Cuba is mobilizing to defend peace, Venezuelan sovereignty, and the Nicolas Maduro government. Cuban diplomats in the UN are leading the fight in that body. Cuban doctors, teachers, and all volunteers on the ground in Venezuela are at their posts and mobilizing to defend Venezuelan sovereignty. Cuban Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez held a magnificent press conference answering Trump's bellicose Miami speech the other day. He called that speech a clumsy declaration of imperialist domination. Trump says, "We have seen Cuba's future here in Miami." I'm quoting Bruno. He is wrong. The future of Cuba is in Cuba, with or without additional blockade measures. The future is decided by Cuban women and men. We have done so, we have built, and we will defend a socialist revolution right under their noses. Cuba sin bloqueo, no. U.S. hands off Venezuela.
Philippines! Sisters and brothers, isn't it great there's a new anti-war movement in town? We're here to tell Wall Street it's not your land, it's not your soil. U.S. hands off Venezuelan oil. And how great that the anti-war movement is back on the streets again. All right, our next speaker, I'm very proud to announce he is my comrade and my brother, Larry Holmes from Workers' World Party.
Thank you, Teresa. I'm not sure why we picked the 23rd. Maybe it's because it's 1 month after the attempted coup. But comrades, this is the right day to be out here and around the world, because we are responding in time to a U.S.-backed attempted violent counter-revolution on the borders of Venezuela happening today. And it's not going to work. We want to ask the bourgeois media, how come you don't have the guts to show the people who are demonstrating in support of the Bolivarian Revolution? Maybe our next demonstration, number one, shouldn't be so peaceful. Number two, should be in front of CNN. We're clear. Trump, who owns this building behind us, He doesn't care whether the people of Venezuela have no food. He doesn't care if they have no medicine. They could go to hell as far as this racist billionaire is concerned. You want to know what he thinks about brown people? Go to the Mexican border. That's what you'll find out, what he really thinks of black and brown people south of the border. It's important that we're here too. The symbolism is right on. What the people of Venezuela have been doing for 20 years now is rebelling against the dictatorship of the rich. They've been telling us around the world, we don't care. We will not be dictated to by Wall Street. Wall Street will not determine our future. We will do it. And in that sense, they are part of the global struggle, the history of struggle against the rich. From Palestine, everywhere, South Africa, Queens, right here, they're part of that struggle. So we hear about Venezuela, but really it's about all poor and working and oppressed people, no matter where they are, no matter what language they speak.
That's right.
I just want to wind up by quoting the words of Comrade Fidel. Socialism or death. Socialism or death. Thank you.
Not for war! All right, I'm very excited to announce our next speaker. Lorraine Indiana is working 24/7 for the Puerto Rican people. Corruption for Puerto Rico and other groups. Please welcome Sister Lorraine.
Buenos días, compañeros y compañeras. Un saludo fraternal de la comunidad puertorriqueña, el Frente Independentista Boricua, y también a call to action on Puerto Rico. This is a greeting to everyone here from el Frente Independentista Puertorriqueño, Boricua, and a call to action on Puerto Rico. I am wearing the shirt and proudly of Lolita Lebron. This is 100 years of Lolita Lebron going in March of 1954 and stormed the Congress saying, yo vine aquí para morir para mi patria. We have been a colonized country for 120 years and 500 years, including the Spanish. What I'd like to highlight, because a lot of my colleagues already spoke, is the environmental catastrophe that is going on in Puerto Rico right now. We have penuelas and Guayama. There are toxic carbon ashes that are causing people to die of these things of cancer. There is also the closing of schools all over the island. More than a third of the schools have been closed on the island. And when I make the parallel to Venezuela and our brothers and sisters that are offering free education, that are offering university education, when the University of Puerto Rico is being dismantled and the students are in the streets fighting to have education in their country. Meanwhile, the investors are coming in and taking a land grab. They are destroying the natural resources of the country. They are selling the natural resources of the country. And I want to remind people that the leadership of Puerto Rican movement has always been la mujer puertorriqueña. This has always been the leadership of our movement. And I want to make a shout out to Mercedes Martinez from the Federation of Teachers and Jocelyn from Frente Socialista y Se Acabaron las Promesas, who are leading this fight in our country, okay? And also I want to recognize in Venezuela all the things that are going on for El Pueblo, and the sanctions of the United States and U.S. imperialism is what's preventing people from having access to the things that they need. So nosotros vamos a decir que nosotros estamos aquí presentes con el pueblo venezolano. And I would like everybody to say, Lolita vive, la lucha sigue. Lolita vive, la lucha sigue. Lolita vive, la lucha sigue. Muchas gracias y nosotros por el pueblo.
Church in Valencia. I'm from NYC Shut It Down. But first I want to say that the recent attacks on Venezuela comes right after Donald Trump says that the United States will never be a socialist nation. A lot of it has to do with the fact that they want to demoralize revolutionary forces across the world, and that they're also afraid of revolution in the imperial court. They want to demoralize revolutionaries of any stripe, whether you're a socialist, whether you're an anarchist, you're a Marxist-Leninist. They want you demoralized, and we have to stand against this as revolutionaries in the United States. The other thing I want to say, despite whatever contradictions may exist in Venezuela, it has been under the thumb of imperialism that prevents these contradictions from being explored, prevents the revolution from being deepened. I see the people in the crowd that say that they're anarchists. I'm an anarchist, and I'm here to stand in solidarity with Venezuela and with the Bolivarian Revolution. There's anarchists in Venezuela right now fighting against the US-backed coup. There's anarchists in Venezuela right now putting out statements asking for international solidarity with the revolution. Sorry about that. We have to keep on showing support for revolution across the world, even if it doesn't exactly conform to what we may think our idea of revolution may be. We don't live there. We don't really have the right to tell these people what they should and shouldn't do. So I'm going to end my speech with reading a short statement. It's on AMW English from Venezuelan anarchists who are against the coup. Yes. Okay. So the Trump regime's declaration, in tandem with the Organization of American States, that reorganized the President and the National Assembly, recognized Juan Guaido as the rightful leader of Venezuela, being the first step to war. The fascist Brazilian government's alliance with the Trump regime has emboldened the two states to act. The collapse of leftist governments in Latin America and the tentative approach toward these far-right regimes may prove divisive. Fascist forces across the world have bargained with elective retreating, and now is an opportune time to launch an assault. Leftist regimes in Latin America are in battle, but the days that the U.S.
You're good.
Okay. But the days that the U.S. can assert its will with impunity are over. Ensuring that these days is done is where the U.S. anarchist movement and revolutionaries in general must begin. We do not need to have any solidarity with any state government. We should not ally ourselves with state power, but we also must not sit back and watch the U.S. state attempt to colonize, dominate, or interfere in any other place in the world.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michaela, and I'm from the Freedom Road Socialist Organization. I know we're all antsy to march, and I'm ready to march too, because I know that all of us here not only support the Bolivarian Revolution, but we wholeheartedly support the democratically elected president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. It is laughable that
Good afternoon, everyone.
Un saludo revolucionario del pueblo ecuatoriano en solidaridad con Venezuela.
Revolutionary greetings from the Ecuadorian people in solidarity with Venezuela. ¡Viva Venezuela libre!
Sabemos que esta intervención que está sucediendo en estos momentos en Venezuela es una intervención solamente por petróleo.
We all know that the intervention that is taking place right now, it's only for the oil.
Nosotros, los latinoamericanos, con los norteamericanos, tenemos que protestar en contra de toda esta mafia, en contra de los trabajadores.
All of us, Latin Americans, African Americans, Americans in general, everyone here, we have to go against what our government is doing against Venezuela.
Nosotros estamos claros que el gobierno de los Estados Unidos, en unión con el imperialismo y las corporaciones norteamericanas y europeas, no les interesa los gobiernos socialistas, ni siquiera quieren trabajar con ellos y nos bloquean todo tipo de recursos que nosotros tengamos.
We're all clear on the fact that this is something that is being carried out by the corporations, mainly American corporations, but also international corporations. They don't want to work with any socialist government in Latin America. They don't want to work with any socialist government anywhere around.
From the International Action Center, are we ready to march? Are we ready to march? Why are we here on Wall Street today? We come from all different traditions. We come from all different walks of life. We come from, there are socialists, there are anarchists, there are Democrats, there are, everybody is here. But we're all here on Wall Street because we know that's where the money is going. That's where the money is going. These endless wars, it's because these people need another yacht. It's because these people need a pied à terre. It's because these people can't stop with their profit seeking until we're all dead. Until we're all dead.
Hi everyone, my name's Sadiqa from the People's Power Assembly, and I would like to introduce the next speaker, Ralph Augusto Miranda from the New York Puerto Rico Resistance.
Good afternoon, my name is Rafael and I'm representing New York Puerto Rico Resistance. We are an organization that is working to organize and mobilize Puerto Rican communities in Bushwick, Williamsburg, and Ridgewood. We stand in solidarity with the Venezuelan people today, saying no to U.S. intervention in Venezuela, and we stand with the people in Puerto Rico and saying that Puerto Rico should no longer be used as a pawn of the U.S. for intervention in Venezuela. As one of the oldest U.S. colonies, we understand perfectly well the consequences of U.S. intervention as well as its pseudo-promises of humanitarian aid. These promises of humanitarian aid are nothing more than a Trojan horse to access our land and our resources. We know that if the U.S. really cared about humanity, they would have allowed the aid that both Venezuela and Cuba offered Puerto Rico post-Maria instead of blocking it. We know that if the U.S. really cared about humanity, nearly 4,000 Puerto Ricans wouldn't have died in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria. The U.S. only cares about using Puerto Rico to continue to destabilize parts of Latin America. Governor Rosselló, as a black dog of U.S. imperialism, has called for Puerto Rico to be the headquarters for the logistical support of this pseudo-government that they are trying to set up. But Puerto Ricans in the diaspora, Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico say no. Maduro has offered assistance to Puerto Rico in their fight for independence, while the President of the United States has thrown paper towels, mocked our dead, and refuses this week to meet to discuss continued aid for Puerto Rico. We know that the U.S. prioritizes nothing more than stealing our resources and land for corporate profits. We stand with the Venezuelan people in solidarity against U.S. intervention. U.S. out. Long live international solidarity. Long live international